Hello everybody and welcome along to the channel and PGA Tour 2K25, and for this video we are trying something a little bit different compared to the usual and traditional format of a course playthrough that I would normally do here on the channel. And it's all being done in DaVinci Resolve, so none of the commentary for the video is being done live throughout the game. I am doing it all in DaVinci Resolve, but just thought I'd try something because, as I did say in the last couple of videos, that I do want to get as much practice with using the software as possible. So I'm not sure exactly at the moment how long this video is going to be. It's going to be quite a little bit of work to actually try and get this done the way that I envision it, so do bear with me. And also I would really appreciate any and all feedback down below in the comments, just as to whether or not you like this style of video, the way that I'm doing it, going to attempt to do it now, should I say, or would you prefer me to just go back to the traditional, just play the 18 holes and keep it in that style. Again, it's not a review style, it is just course playthrough, but I just want to try it a completely different way. I don't know if the dog is coming across in the microphone. She's gone around sneezing, doing something. She pitter-pattering all around the place. I don't think it's picking up her paws, but as she runs around. But yeah, she's a bit sneezy. I think she hair up her nose, something like that. Anyway, I'm kind of dragging this intro on, but yeah, as I say, do bear with me a little bit. Again, this is a completely different format. You will see as it goes on the way things are going to go, and hopefully it does work out well. I will also say that the next video will more than likely be another PGA Tour 2K25 video, but if not, there is definitely going to be a video of a different game. I haven't decided which game it is coming up yet. Also, again, I do want to record it and play around in the editing software, and again, just keep on getting myself more and more comfortable with it. So if you do fancy checking out that video when it does go live, go right ahead. If it's not your thing, feel free to just give it a miss, but I don't want to obviously do the whole recording and all the editing and stuff like that and not actually get any feedback or anything like that, or I've basically just wasted time without showing anybody. if you get what I mean. But anyway, we're dragging on this intro a little bit, so let's get ourselves underway for this video. This is going to be a big task for me. Okay, so for this round, we are going to be using my Titleist bag, and the driver is the GT3. The woods, we are going to be using also the GT3, 3 wood and 5 wood. For the irons, we're going to be using the T100s. And for the wedges, we're going to be using the Vokey SM10 Nickel Greys. And for the putter, we've got the Scotty Cameron Phantom 5.5. And then finally, for the ball, we will be using the Pro V1 Yellow. Again, no fittings ever on the ball, but as you did see, we have got the fittings on the clubs. So let's get ourselves properly underway, and we'll check out what course we're going to be playing. So the course that we are going to be playing today is Hidden Oaks CC, designed by Mariner 175. As for the conditions and the setup of the round, we will be playing from the tips, which are the black tees, measuring 7,481 yards. And as always as well, we will be keeping it on pin set number 1. For the actual course conditions themselves, we're going to have everything left on default as per usual. We'll have firm fairways, firm greens, and a very fast green speed. Time of day is noon, and the weather is overcast. So for hole number 1, we have a par 4, which is measuring 439 yards from the tips to the pin. For pin set number 1, fairly generous fairway and the landing area. One big tree there on the right hand side. Be mindful that you don't go over to the right, and then one long bunker all the way down the left. One large single bunker also then guarding this green to the front and the left. As we now get ourselves underway for the round. So once again, do bear with me with this editing process. It is all new to me, and obviously getting times of transitions and stuff like that down is it's going to take a little bit to get used to, but I'm really enjoying actually doing this, playing around with it. But as you can see there, the weather is up a little bit, about 11 miles per hour. A little bit of close contact off the tee, but we still managed to get it down into the fairway. So that then left us with roughly around about 97 yards into the pin. It's 93 up 13 feet. So yeah, about 97 yards roughly is what it wants to play. Bit of an angle, 10 mile per hour wind from the back. Just going to add on a little bit of attack angle and some spin here. Decent strike, a little bit of close contact again, but it's in there onto the green. Unfortunately, a little bit too much on the spin. It does spin away from the hole. And that then leaves us with a 12-foot putt up 1 inch. Not really much in the break, just out a little bit, roughly coming up halfway between the hole and the first green line. Give it a little bit, turns it in nicely, and we'll kick things off with a birdie. So hole number 2 is a par 4 measuring 358 yards and it's down 15 feet. And with the right conditions and if you have your fitness and everything set up correctly, you can certainly reach this green in one. It is very much attackable with just one large bunker there on the left side guarding the fairway, and then that one large bunker also guarding the right side of the green. For pin number 1 though, we do have a front pin, so wind conditions, let's go for it. We're going for this in 1. And as you can see, we certainly have got the right conditions for this. We've got a 9 mile per hour wind coming from slightly behind us to the side, turning directly towards us. So we'll stick a good bit of draw on the driver and we'll go for it. What's the worst that can happen? There is no major hazards, just those bunkers to deal with should we miss it, but hit it absolutely perfect. A little bit of an overswing, touches down nicely in the fairway. Didn't think it was actually going to get there. Thought it was going to maybe just come up a little bit shy, but no, it did indeed trickle its way on. Comes to a nice rest there. And that has just left us with a very good look at an eagle 2 very early in the round. Measuring 20 feet up 3 inches. 213 feet is the green speed. And just burned that right edge. Unlucky not to get that there. I think it was the contact just pushed it off a little bit to the right, but we will take a birdie and move on to hole number 3. So hole number 3 brings us our first par 3 of the course, and it's measuring 194 yards down 3 feet, and it's over water with this beach style bunker in front with the sort of pot bunker style wall at the back of it, then guarding that green, and then one large bunker off to the left. But we don't need to worry about that one, just this one in front of our beach style bunker, but more than attackable with the conditions that we have. And faced with a 13 mile per hour crosswind, we're going to take the 6-iron in. Trying to remember, did I do a little bit of loft on this? I'm not sure. Genuinely, it was quite a few hours ago actually when I recorded. Now between then and now doing the commentary. But yeah, I really like this par 3 the way it's done. It makes quite good use of the pop bunker style throughout the course. So yeah, put a little bit of loft and spin on it there. Out for that wind. Hit it, not the best, bit of a push and close contact. So kind of balancing itself out with the wind still bringing it around nicely. And that will get us onto the green. And leave us with another very good look at a birdie from 10 feet down 1 inch. Shouldn't be breaking any more than halfway up to that first green line. Not the best of swings, bit of a pull on that one, and it did unfortunately miss it to the left, and it just travelled on quite a bit. So hit it a little firm again, very fast green speed at 213. But we will get it back up there and save par. Keep us at 2 under, through 3, should I say. So moving on to hole number 4, we have another par 4, and this one is measuring 483 yards down 16 feet to the pin. And as you can see, it's quite a wide fairway, 3 bunkers guarding it on the left-hand side there, but it is also heavily banking from left to right. So you do have to be mindful of that, especially if you do have crosswind coming from the left to right, that you don't push it a little bit too far up. It could be in a bit of trouble. Just 2 bunkers then guarding fairly reasonable distance away from this green, but it's more than attackable to get towards the pin on this particular pin set. And as you can see, we do actually have a crosswind from left to right, 12 mile per hour. So main focus here was really just to make sure that I keep it in the fairway. I didn't want to go down onto that slope, potentially into the rough near those, in and around about those trees. So a little bit of a dodgy swing again, close contact, push on the swing pad, kind of balancing itself out. Luckily, we do keep it in the fairway. kind of down onto the flat, but you can see where you could get into some trouble there with those trees. So that tee shot has left us with 184 yards in, up 3 feet. So it's going to play about 185 yards into the pin. Wind is kind of in the other direction now, coming slightly from behind us. That's going to give us a 7-iron in. Good contact, a bit of a push though on the swing path. But we do get ourselves onto the green. Gonna leave us with roughly in and around about 15 to 20 feet forward, about 22 feet down 1 inch. Not much really in the break again. So this one to get ourselves to 3 under par, breaking at about a green line. Horrible pull again. I have a terrible habit of doing that on the swing path, but we do drain and get ourselves to 3 under par. So hole number 5 brings us to our second par 3 of the round, and it's measuring 167 yards up 9 feet. So playing about 170 to the pin. 2 massive bunkers guarding the front of the green, the closest of which again has a pop bunker style wall at the closest edge, so you certainly don't want to end up in and around about there. You'll be in quite a bit of trouble. But very, very nice par 3 once again. And we are faced with this one with a 12-mile-per-hour crosswind. So for myself, that was club it up onto a 7-iron and just choke down on it. That will bring it to about 171 yards. And that should do just nicely to get me in there. Safely on the green at least. Unfortunately, not the best of strikes again. Close contact, pulling it off to the left. But, as you see, kind of one of those little... almost on a little bit of a members bounce kind of a shot, and as you see it's just going to trundle its way all the way down. And I just thought for a second, is it going to just get it to roughly around about 1 to 2 feet of the hole, leaving us with simply a tap in just to tidy things up and get ourselves another birdie on the scorecard and take it to 4 under. So hole number 6 brings us our second par 5 of the round, and as you can see it's just pretty much a straightaway drive off the tee. Lovely big wide-ish landing area just past the cart path there. Absolutely no bunkers whatsoever along the fairway to worry about. If you do happen to go a bit left, you might be in a spot of bother on the slope down by those trees, but otherwise nothing really major to worry about whatsoever. More than drivable in 2, reachable in 2 should I say. Par 5, just those 2 little small bunkers in the fairway guarding the front of that green, but apart from that, very, very much attackable, very good eagle opportunity. And we have a 9-mile-per-hour crosswind from left to right once again, so we shouldn't have to worry unless we majorly hook it. Should not have to worry about going down that left side. A little bit of a push again. I'm pushing it quite a bit in this round. It is a bit of a theme. I couldn't get my thumb to properly line up on the stick, so contact and swing path not very good at all whatsoever, but that has left us with 248 yards into the green to get to the pin. And as you can see, we got a little bit of a slope. It's a bit of a 2-tier green, got a little bit of a slope, so if we were to go a little bit long hitting the green, we would still stand a chance of rolling back. Again, another big push with the swing path, going to get us onto the green, but unfortunately still just a bit too much pace, and then with that push just brought us off to the right side of the green, unfortunately, but not too far off. Thankfully did stop on the slope of the fairway, left us 11 yards for a little chip. Pushed it with the contact, bit of open contact there. Maybe if that was perfect it might have threatened the hole a little bit better, but just ran on a little bit past. But we still have a birdie opportunity from 10 feet, no more than halfway out. Just make sure to give it enough to get there, and we will drop that in for another birdie. Hole number 7 brings us another drivable par 4, and it's got a massive waste area, as you can see, down the right-hand side. Framed lovely, actually, bordering between that and the fairway with a lovely brick-style retaining wall. And then just leading up, guarding the front and right side of the green, pot-style bunkers, and then that 1 bunker in the fairway off to the left. But quite attackable, regardless of the pin location it seems, and dependent on the wind conditions also as well. But here we have a 10-mile-per-hour tailwind, so definitely need to go for it in 1 here and see how we get on. It is a little bit of it is a kind of a narrow area on the green here, not really much to work with, but once you just choke back. I did choke back on the driver. 288 is the carry. Put quite a bit of loft and some extra fade onto the shot as well. But unfortunately, just as seems to be plaguing me so far throughout the round, is just the bad contact and swing path. Just pushing me off to the right and just trickling around. Didn't catch the bunker, thankfully. Did end up in the fairway, and it left us at 24 yards. Gonna play about 26 with that uphill. Don't really like doing chip shots from this sort of range, so I said definitely flop shot. Just outside the spinner range, but perfect for a flop again. Bit of bad contact, but tucked it in there nice and close. About 4, maybe 5 feet for the birdie. 4 feet dead on, pretty much straight. Drop it in for another one. Teeing off between the two trees, hole number 8 is an uphill par 4, measuring 482 yards. It was a slight dogleg to the left, and you'll see the oak tree just there on the right hand side of the fairway. Generous landing area just in front of it, nice and wide, and no bunkers whatsoever apart from just that one lone bunker just off in the rough, guarding that left side of the green. Plenty of bailout area to the right, depending on wind conditions. Nothing at all. Pretty straightforward hole, so yeah, I'll say nothing at all really to worry about. 11 mile per hour headwind for ourselves during this round, so the hole is playing a little bit longer, but still nice and straightforward. A little bit of a push again off the tee with that swing path. It's just a consistent thing throughout the whole round. Just cannot seem to dial it in, but we're left at 220 yards up 12 feet, so about 224 to the pin. 9 mile per hour headwind, died down a little bit, so I'm just going to bump it up from the 4-iron to the 5-wood, choke back on that a little bit, carry it 228. Gonna put a little bit of loft onto this just to kind of float it into the air, get it to land softly. Aim is to get it around about the front of the green. So there we go, perfect contact, perfect swing path. Hopefully I judged it right. Just get it sitting nice and soft on the front of the green and run itself out with the fast, very fast, should I say, green speed. So tuck it in just inside 10 feet. Give us another excellent look at another birdie. Really on fire in the front 9, even though the swing is not the best. But this to take us to 7 under par. Pretty much straight, and in she goes. So to finish off the front, hole number 9 is our third par 5 of the round, and it measures 586 yards. Slightly downhill, and as you can see, the designer has given us a choice off the tee here. We can either get risky and go down the left, try and take it over that bunker, or we can play a bit more safe and go down the right hand side for a bit more of a direct approach into the green. Just one single bunker then guarding this green with a false front running all the way down into it. And nice central pin, so it is more than attackable. And especially if you have good wind conditions. Wind has died down a little bit again. We're at 8 mile per hour. Was kind of toying with the idea, will I or won't I? Will I or won't I try and get over here? But I was looking at that retaining wall, that quite high looking retaining wall at the back of the bunker, and I was like, no, I don't fancy somehow coming up short and ended up tucked up against that wall and having to play backwards or sideways across the hole. So I said, I'll play it safe and get down there, but if you have a nice tailwind, certainly more than achievable to get over that. So nice and safe down into the fairway. It was quite a good look into the green. Wind has picked back up again for this second shot, and as you can see, that big false front leading down into that one lone bunker on the left hand side. Bit of a bad swing again, bad contact, bad push on the swing path. Also, it's just going to touch down the slope. We're going to kick itself to the left, and unfortunately we do find that one and only bunker guarding this green. That's going to leave us at 28 yards up 10 feet to the hole. And I wasn't paying attention at all here whatsoever. Didn't think at all what I was doing. For some reason I thought I was on a pick shot and I was on a splash shot and just blew the hole, as you can see. So I'm not really actually playing this one the best. Really kind of scrambling around this one a little bit. So we're left now with 30 feet for the birdie to try and get us to 8 under par. Otherwise I had a very, very solid front 9, 7 under par. Bad pull, overswing as well, and it's just going to burn past that right edge. So unfortunate not to get that birdie, but just bad play for myself. But we'll tap it in, take the par, and let's see what the back 9 has in store for us. So to kick off the back nine, hole number 10 is a downhill par 4, measuring 474 yards to the pin. And it's our first real daunting tee shot of the round as well, with water all the way down the right-hand side. One single fairway bunker on the left with that tree. You'll be in quite a bit of bother if you end up just in the front of that. And then two single little bunkers guarding the front side of that green. But again, the main issue being the water all the way down the right side. So if you have a tendency to push, you could be in a little bit of trouble. Luckily enough for ourselves, though, with this round, we had a 12-mile-per-hour headwind, so it didn't really... I knew I wasn't going to get the bottleneck, so I was able to take driver. I knew the wind was going to hold that up. It was just a case of don't push it. Just don't push it. But we do. We get perfect swing off the tee. Won a few so far this round, but just down that left side of the fairway. And it just kind of feeds its way a little bit back towards the centre, taking that tree out of play as well. And that left us with 171 yards in, down 2 feet. So roughly around about 170 yards is what it wants to play. Call it about 180 or so with that wind. So we're just going to club it up to a 7-iron. Now, unfortunately, I did aim out, as you can see the lie grid there, I did aim out a little bit too far. I was expecting the ball to go a little bit more to the right. And then, as you can see, I had a bit of close contact as well, just helping to keep that ball a little bit further out to the left. So I did miss the green here to the left. And I thought hopefully maybe there's a little bit of slope. If there could be a little bit of pace, it might trickle its way on. But it left us an 11-yard chip in. Just put quite a bit of spin on there. Just try to get it as close as possible. Unfortunately, just a bad swing path again. A little bit of a pull. I'd say if that had been perfect, possibly would have dropped in. Was pin high. But we are going to tap this in for another par and remain at 7 under for now. Hole number 11 is going to bring us to what is, for me anyway, the feature hole of the course. It's beautiful par 3, island green, measuring 236 yards, down 25 feet. And as you can see, as we just go through the flyover here, it seems like it has definitely drawn inspiration from TPC Sawgrass. Great walkway across, bridge, whatever you wish to call it, all the way over to the green. That large oak tree there, attached to the green, unlike over at Sawgrass, but definitely just has Sawgrass vibes about it. Absolutely lovely work. Beautiful planting as well, just off the front of the tee box. With the different colours breaking everything up, and then just all that water surrounding. Quite a bit longer than Sawgrass, measuring 236 yards. You can see a bit of a 3-tier green as well. Pin is located at the back on that sort of mid-tier area. 15-mile-per-hour crosswind from the left. Take a 4-iron in there. A little bit of that push coming back in. Actually, quite a bit of that push coming back in as well. It's a big one. Just going to send it off over to the right. Thought maybe it'll hold the edge of the green, but just trickles its way off onto the fringe, leaving us with another 11-yard chip shot. Aimed a little bit too far out. Thought it was going to come up a little bit shorter on that slope and just kick itself to the left, but just stayed out there, especially with that open contact. Leaving us with a 4-foot tap in, pretty straight for another par. Getting a little bit of a streak going here. Hole number 12 is an uphill par 4, and it's another one that is reachable off the tee, measuring just 312 yards. Nothing at all to worry about in the fairway. Shouldn't even need to worry about the fairway. You should be getting this green or very, very close to it all day long. As you can see, it is very well protected on all sides with massive bunkers everywhere and runoffs leading to those bunkers with just one single little bunker also hiding itself down at the back. And I'm faced with a 14-mile-per-hour crosswind from right to left here. As I see, we got a sort of front mid pin location for pin set 1. I was on the fence, will I or won't I go for it? The only hazards obviously to deal with are those bunkers protecting the green. But I just decided, either way, I'm probably going to end up in a bunker. I'll just drop it back to the 3-wood. Get it into the fairway. If it ends up in a bunker still, it does. With that wind, especially with the way I'm swinging, as you can see, there was a bit of a push, which I think kind of helped it a little bit. But we do sort of split those two bunkers anyway. Leave ourselves, should I say, with 49 feet in, playing roughly around about 53. So that's perfect for spinner range. We just need to make sure that we do give it enough to carry over that false front. Otherwise, we could potentially be rolling ourselves back down onto the fairway. Hit it good. A little bit of close contact again, but we do knock it to within just a few feet, and leaving ourselves with pretty much straightforward tap in for birdie. And finally ending that little bit of a par streak that we were getting on. As we move on to hole number 13, which is a downhill par 5, measuring 589 yards. And as you can see, rather large bunker there to the right hand side of the fairway, and that is well within reach unless you've got quite a strong headwind. Fairway kind of bottlenecking in and around about there. And then for your second shot, you've got water all the way down the right hand side. 2 horseshoe bunkers in the fairway just to the left before we hit the green. And as you can see, pin set number 1, that pin is quite close to the right hand side of that green, so water is certainly a factor for this hole. We've got a crosswind as well while playing this round, and that is obviously, as you can tell, going left to right. How typical. So I was keeping in mind the bunker off the tee, that it was well within range, but we do hit a perfect shot off the tee, and that is going to be nicely into the fairway. And it's going to leave us with 233 yards down 5 feet to the hole. So I'm going to play about 231. So a new 5 wood, even choke down, was going to be a little bit too long. So I'll drop back to a 4 iron, 215 yard carry on that. 15 mile per hour crosswind as I strike the ball. And there's that ever so present push throughout the round. Sends us off, bouncing off the retaining wall into the water. So unfortunately, you're going to have to take a drop shot for this one. So shot number 4 for birdie, 36 yards to the hole. I thought we'll take a spinner up. Wasn't keeping in mind that we're coming out of, even though it's just light rough, there wouldn't be as much spin with the spinner. And unfortunately, the ball did roll on quite a bit. Should have pulled it back a little bit more, but we're left with a 25-foot putt for a par save. Not too much break in it. Just got to keep the fingers crossed that we're going to drop this one in and not drop a shot. And we do indeed save the par. Hole number 14 is a long uphill par 4 measuring 511 yards, playing closer to about 525 with the elevation change. As you see, one large bunker there on the right hand side of the fairway with that retaining wall at the back again, perfectly in the landing zone. So you've got to be mindful of that one. And then one large bunker wrapping around from the right side around to the back of the green, protecting it there also. As you see, we got a crosswind right to left, 13 mile per hour. And where the marker is aimed, we are bang on, as I did mention a moment ago, right in range for that bunker. So you could really find yourself in a bit of trouble having to play sideways or backwards on the hole should you end up in there. I think with that push that we have there on the swing, thankfully we did actually have a right to left wind, because otherwise, going by the way the ball is traveling there, could potentially, with that swing, been in that bunker and in quite a little bit of trouble. We've got a 2-tier green here. Pin is towards the back on the lower of the 2. And it is 205 up 23. So it's going to play closer to about 213 yards to the hole. Just a little bit of loft because that wind is slightly angled. Hopefully you can hold it up a little bit. Again, there's that push in the swing. Touch it down on the slope of the 2 tiers. That's what I was kind of hoping for, just to get it to run down towards the hole. But unfortunately, it just had a little bit too much pace on it and continued on a little bit further than I had hoped it would. And that left us with a 19-foot putt for the birdie. Reasonable size break, out to about 1.5. Again, there's the pull on the swing, and unfortunately, just yet again, not to be. Seems to be a bit of a trend now on the back 9. We are kind of scrambling a little bit, but we'll just tap that one in for the par. Hole number 15 is a pretty straightforward downhill par 4, measuring 374 yards, and nothing really to worry about on this hole, apart from just that large waste area down the right side of the fairway, wrapping itself around the right side of the green. And provided that the conditions are in your favour, you are standing a very, very good chance of reaching this green in 1. It does kind of bottleneck a little bit towards the green there, but the fairway, small strip of fairway, does actually bank left to right, so it will help to kick the ball in that direction for you. As you see, we've got a 12 mile per hour crosswind, slightly angled from behind us as well, so reasonably good conditions to get there in 1. Defaulted me on the 3 wood, so I'll bump it up to the driver. I think that's just due to the waypoints, if I'm correct, when the designer is creating the hole, that the club will default to certain clubs. Obviously, if the waypoint is far enough away, it will default onto the driver. But as you see, touchdown nicely in the fairway. The ball is feeding around to the right, but just died before it reached the green, unfortunately. I'd say if that wind was a little bit more behind us, we would have just about crept it onto the green. That left us with a 21-yard shot to the hole. Again, sort of outside the range where I like doing the chip shots, so just switch it over to a flop. Very bad strike on that one, really pulled that one off to the left. But we got it inside 10 feet anyway, and 6 feet to be precise. So it's just a case of making sure we give it enough to get there. I have come up short on putts like this before where I just fluffed the ball, but we do indeed grab ourselves another birdie. So now in the final stretch, hole number 16 is our last par 4 of the round, and similar to hole number 10, we have got water all the way down that right hand side, so another pretty daunting tee shot. The only difference being this is a completely bunkerless hole, but as you can see, we have a pretty large generous green and pin set number 1. It's nice and central, so you got plenty of green to work with to run the ball up, but you shouldn't really be left with anything more than, depending on the winds, if you have a strong headwind, maybe around about a mid-iron, otherwise just a wedge or a short iron in. We've got a 16-mile-per-hour tailwind for us here today, and as I mentioned a moment ago, a bit of a daunting tee shot, and the way I've been pushing the ball fairly consistently throughout the round, I was kind of a little nervous on this one, so I said I'm going to aim well over to the left, over the cart path here, just in case I do give it that push that it has, and it does take a bounce off to the right. We do manage to get perfect contact and swing path, but just in case we did get a push and some open contact, there would hopefully be just a little bit of a cushion then of the heavy rough to slow it down, where to go a little bit too far to the right. But nicely into the fairway, leaves us 136 yards in, 14 mile per hour from behind us, so it's going to play closer to about 122. Just going to drop that back to the 56 degree, choke down on it, or sorry, 50 degree should I say, down to 120 yards. Bit of a mistake on my part, bit of a push there as well with the swing path, but bit of a mistake to choke down. Should have left it maybe at full and just put a little bit of loft and spin on, as we did come up quite a bit short. And that leaves us with a 28-foot putt up 2 inches for another birdie and to get ourselves to 10 under par. We're struggling quite a bit here on the back 9 compared to the front. That was absolutely solid, but it took a turn. But we do drop that in and get ourselves another one. So hole number 17 brings us our final par 3 of the round, and it's measuring 170 yards. Another island green, and compared to hole number 11, I don't know, it doesn't seem to pop as much. It's like there's not as much character to it. Especially when you look at the like you've got the wall down the left hand side there, that's a nice thing, but I think just where the water is at the hill there, and another retaining wall, you can see maybe some planting along there, or maybe more directly in line with the hole. But just on the tee shot when you're looking down to the green, it just seems like that it's missing something just to help it pop. I do love the island greens regardless, and they always make me sweaty palmed, because I have a tendency, especially with this round, to push or even pull the ball to the water. 13 mile per hour right to left wind. We do manage to get it perfect on the contacted swing path. Get it nice and close on the green. Knock it to, what did we get to again? We got to 8 feet, so this to take us to 11 under par for the round. And we drop it straight in there. So here we are on to hole number 18, and it's the last par 5 of the round to wrap things up, and it measures 532 yards playing uphill. Massive waste area down that left side, and again, as you can see, water all the way down that right hand side. Large tree splitting the fairway there. There is kind of a little bit of an option at the end of that waste area if you are able to have the reach to get over that waste area and try and cut that dog leg out of it. And 4 bunkers guarding that green with massive runoff down towards 3 of them, but it's certainly reachable provided the conditions are in your favor. We've got, once again, 14 mile per hour right to left wind off the tee, so for me that is favorable with the push that has been quite consistent throughout the round to help in order to keep us away from the water. Really only have to worry about that waste area, but because of the wind and just the tee shot with the driver, I decided to drop back to the 3-wood. There was no point even choking down on the driver. I felt I was possibly still going to run out of fairway and just end up in the rough. And I did want to at least try and attempt to make this green in 2. So that left us with 263 yards into the green, up 38 feet. 17 mph wind, pretty much from behind us. So nothing really to lose. Might as well go for it. Worst that can happen is we end up in one of those bunkers in front of the green. Very dirty swing for that second shot. And unfortunately came up a little bit shy. Touches down on that slope and all the way back down. So you can see quite a big steep slope. And then it still filters its way down into the bunker. Now, not quite sure what was going through my mind here, with it being considerably uphill and quite a distance to the hole, playing 38 yards up 22, so about 45 yards to the hole. I have no idea, even though it's a 43-yard carry with the splash shot from the 60 degree, I don't know what made me decide to take that. And again, just a horrible, horrible swing, badly underswung it as well, 92%, whereas 100% should be 43 yards. I don't know what maybe not decide to club that one up, but I do club it up here to the 56 degree for our 4th shot, this for birdie. And just because of the angle of approach in, it just ran out horribly longer than I would have liked, and that has left us with 24 feet for a par save to keep a bogey off the scorecard. But it's been quite the scrappy back 9, as I mentioned a few moments ago, compared to the on-fire front 9 that we have. But we do drop that in for the par to stay at 11 under and keep those bogeys off the scorecard. So there you go, folks. That is Hidden Oaks CC, designed by Mariner 175. And as we wrap up here on the scorecard, you can see I had an absolutely just on fire for the front 9, just the 2 single, should I say, pars. Unfortunately, one of them was a par 5. A little bit scrappy on the par 5s, to be honest. Now, looking at the scorecard, only birdied one of them. All the following 3 then were pars. Really struggled on them, but in particular struggled pretty much throughout that back 9, just scrambling our way around it. But yeah, very, very solid course. If you have not played it yet, I do highly, highly recommend going out there and giving it a play. Some lovely tee shots, some lovely scenery, some lovely holes, the whole lot. It is overall a generally excellent course. Again, this is not a review, it's just a playthrough. That's just my thoughts on the course. Really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, once again, Hidden Oaks CC, designed by Mariner 175. And as we wrap up the video, I do just want to apologize for, at the start of it, my kind of listening back to the commentary while I've been editing, the sort of monotone and no real kind of animation to my voice in some parts. I've always noticed anytime I do a post commentary video that I always do tend to come across a little less. There's a little less animation or emotion or anything like that. There's no real change of tone or pitch in my voice whenever I'm doing a post commentary video. I don't know why, but it's almost as if I'm just reading like a robot from a script. So I will apologize for that. I'll try and get that in order if I do happen to do a similar video to this style again. But as I did say as well at the start of the video, I would appreciate any and all feedback down below in the comments. Do you like the way that I've done this video, or would you prefer me to go back to just starting it off with the good evening everybody and going through the course details, playing the full 18, no flyovers and such like that in between, the traditional style of what I've been doing for years? I would really appreciate that feedback, because this video has actually taken a lot longer than the traditional style to do. Traditional style, I can record within, 40 minutes to an hour, and any little bits that I need to cut out, that's no problem, over in the Share Factory. Excuse me. And then it doesn't take too long to render. I say it takes almost no time at all to edit, and then not too much time to render, and then to upload. And once YouTube has finished processing the different qualities of video, then I get it published out to you guys, so I can have it done within less than 24 hours, provided I don't need to do other things and they get in the way and I have to come back to it. But as of me recording this final stretch of commentary now, I've been doing commentary over the last couple of days, as well as chopping and splicing the video together and stuff like that, and tweaking audio. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better to the previous one, but it is right now, as I'm recording this commentary for the outro and the previous few holes, the 27th of June. I recorded the gameplay itself on the 24th. So yeah, quite a big difference in the length of time it's taken me to create the actual videos, but I am really enjoying every single moment of it, playing around here in the DaVinci Resolve and learning the finer little details and getting the hang of it all. So yeah, would you prefer to see videos more like this, or would you prefer me to go back to the old style? Either way, doesn't bother me. I'll still use DaVinci Resolve even if I do the old style. But yeah, I have really enjoyed doing the process of this, even though it has taken a hell of a lot longer. And so with that pretty much all out of the way, as we just scroll through menus and the whole distances and stuff like that, there's nothing really left for me to say apart from thank you all very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, don't forget to drop it a like. Again, as I mentioned, do drop your feedback down below in the comments. If you're just brand new to the channel or you have not done so already, do consider subscribing, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Until then, take care, have yourselves a good one, and bye for now.